Greetings everyone, this is Ryan Roy of Tanadrine Studios. Since the Lightwave 3D Group recently made available a trial version of their new standalone application of Chronosculpt, I thought it would be fun to give it a try purely out of curiosity. It is a very focused program, and its key benefit is the fact that you can take things like extremely dense geometry or complex cached dynamics and animate changes to it over time easily and non-destructively. Now, when I watched the material presented at SIGGRAPH 2013, I felt that the demonstrations on Chronosculpt were quite bland, and I say this as constructive criticism. I know the Lightwave 3D group works very hard on their presentations and don't always have the luxury of time to construct and put together example content, but even so, who wants to buy a $400 application for the sole purpose of correcting errors or making minor adjustments? I sure don't. That sounds incredibly boring to me. Useful and incredibly time saving, without a doubt, but boring. That said, I really had some major doubts that this program offered anything useful to my production because I favor tools that allow me to produce more content in less time. And the way Chronosculpt was marketed, it was more for adding detail or fixing errors, not saving time while creating content, which is stuff that a lot of people want to do. But let's get to the point of this whole video. I'd like to demonstrate just one possible usage example of Chronosculpt that I don't feel was touched upon at all, the concept of simplifying rigging and character animation. For this example, I'll use Ivan's character rig from Delura. Now, when I do character rigs, I try to keep things as simple as possible and use a template-based approach because complex character rigs are often difficult to manage, and it's a huge burden on system resources on top of that. However, a side effect of keeping things simple in regards to facial rigging is, well, let's take a look. I have 5 points of articulation, and the mouth control is on the side, so I can get an ah and an o sound. I have a workable level of control here, but even so, I've always felt limited in terms of what I can get out of my character's facial expressions given the time constraints I'm always under. Well, what if I could just chuck away most of this face rig and have total and absolute control over this character's facial expressions, and do it faster? Time to investigate. First, I'll recite a line from Space Quest 6, throw it into Lightwave's timeline, and animate Ivan's face to coincide with it, using only the most basic controls that the character rig has. Better look up the word churlish before you do anything stupid. After duplicating the original character model and freezing the geometry of this copy, I'll replace my low-res version with this one in layout. Remember that Chronosculpt is a standalone application, so this workflow is applicable to any 3D software. Anyways, save out an MDD file and layout, and now we can jump right into Chronosculpt to finish this animation. Okay, so what I'm doing here is that instead of manipulating a bunch of nulls in Lightwave or some other 3D program and relying on a sophisticated facial rig, I'm going to use Chronosculpt's tools to basically do the same thing, but with less complexity, better results, and lots of saved time. For the purposes of manipulating a character's face, the dragnet tool does nearly everything that's needed, so let's see if I can get this otherwise bland looking animation and put some life into it. The learning curve for Chronosculpt can be measured in minutes. I had no prior experience with this program while screen capturing this footage. Now, Chronosculpt is a new program and there are a few areas where it could improve. First off is the lack of layers. Usually when I do facial animation, I focus on specific areas of the face to save time and lower the complexity of the work. So in Lightwave, for instance, I'll do all the mouth animation, then work on the eyes, then insert the final details. My workflow was identical in Chronosculpt, only I had to save out the separate layers of animation through files rather than directly through the interface. Not a huge deal, but it would be convenient to have layer functionality directly in the software. After completing my work in Chronosculpt, the updated cache file can replace the original. Let's compare the old animation with the new one. Better look up the word churlish before you do anything stupid. Better look up the word churlish before you do anything stupid. Better look up the word churlish before you do anything stupid. The only other comment I have regarding Chronosculpt is that I'd like to be able to load an audio clip for those situations where you need to sync up your motions with sound, like with lip syncing. Other than that, finally being able to get my hands on Chronosculpt has radically changed my opinion on how much it could contribute to my animation workflow. The simple and easy to use interface kind of masks the sheer power of the application, so I highly recommend downloading the trial and giving it a try. This concludes my review and demonstration, so I'll leave it at that for now. Thanks for watching.